Hey guys, welcome back. Happy Thursday. We are going to be spending today on going over our last couple of texts, and then remember tomorrow will be our read aloud video on Save Me a Seat. So there will not be any video going over any new texts, but you will have your independent work anyway. So today we're going to continue to compare and contrast topics and themes. And by now you should have a really good understanding of how to look at two texts and be able to talk about how they are connected or related with similarities and differences. All right, so by this point in the week, we should feel really good about that and be able to explain to someone else the relationship between two similar texts of similar genres. All right, so today we're going to be going over the two texts that you read yesterday, one being Tattercoats and the other Cinderella. All right, so we're gonna kind of just jump right in with that. And remember, you can use your colors to annotate and mark, or if you're just someone that likes to take notes and find your evidence and details, you can do that. So number one says, how are the characters in Cinderella and Tattercoats similar? So looking at just the characters in both stories. In both stories, Cinderella and Tattercoats are motherless and they are mistreated by those they live with. They are also both kind-hearted. So kind-hearted is their character trait, all right? And they are both motherless, meaning they are without mothers. Okay, so that's how they are similar. In number two, how are the characters in Cinderella and Tattercoats different? They are different because Cinderella has the mean stepmother and stepsisters, and Tattercoats has a mean grandfather and servants. So they're both living with someone that mistreats them. However, it's different family members. So in Cinderella, it's the stepmom and her stepsisters. And in Tattercoats, it's the mean grandfather. Number three, how are the settings of Cinderella and Tattercoats similar? So again, where the story takes place, when the story takes place. Cinderella and Tattercoats both go to balls or fancy dances. So in both stories, they take place at a ball. All right, so number four. Which of the following correctly describes a similarity between Cinderella and Tattercoats? So in this story, looking at these four choices, both stories have elements of magic. They're both kind of like fairy tales or magical. Both stories are about loyal friends who help each other. Both stories are about young girls who turn into princesses, and both stories are about young girls who are mistreated after their mothers die. So in this case, all of those are true. We can say yes to all of those. They all apply. So remember, when you see that answer choice, it's usually more than one answer. When it says in parentheses, choose all that apply. Number five, which of the following correctly describes the difference between Tattercoats and Cinderella? And we're kind of moving through these a little bit quicker today because these questions have been the same or pretty much the same all week, just with different stories. So I'm just gonna kind of quickly review them. And if there's questions after, you can always message me with those. Cinderella's fairy godmother helps her get to the ball. Tattercoats' friend, the herd boy, helps her get to the ball. So they both have someone that helps them or befriends them, but they're just different people in both stories. So it's really a similarity and a difference. In number six, this is a written response, so where we're comparing the theme in both, because remember, even though the theme can be the same in two stories, it can be presented in different ways. So both Tattercoats and Cinderella feature the theme that good people will have good fortune, meaning if you do good for others, it will come back to you in good fortune. Describe two ways that the theme of goodness is portrayed in each folktale. So how are the characters portraying goodness? In Tattercoats, Tattercoats is kind-hearted, despite being mistreated by her grandfather and servants. In the end, she meets the prince and they fall in love. In Cinderella, she is also kind-hearted like Tattercoats, despite being mistreated by her stepmother and stepsisters. In the end, her fairy godmother helps her go to the ball where she falls in love with the prince. So very similar themes, but the characters just kind of deal with it a little bit differently. Okay, so those are some examples of some responses. In number 7, how are the endings in Tattercoats and Cinderella different? How do the different endings portray different morals? So there's that word moral again, like from yesterday. So what is that lesson that we take away from it? What is important as the lesson learned or the theme? At the end of Tattercoats, the grandfather ends up alone and bitter by the window of his palace. At the end of Cinderella, Cinderella accepts the apologies of her stepmother and stepsisters. The story Tattercoats portrays the moral that good fortune will come to good people and bad fortune will come to bad people. Cinderella portrays the moral that forgiveness is important. So meaning even though Cinderella was mistreated or she wasn't treated the best that she could have been, she saw the good in her stepmother and stepsisters, and she felt that forgiveness was more important. And that was the theme or the moral that we take away from that story. However, in Tattercoats, the grandfather ended up alone. So it was a little bit different. Same type of moral, but a different outcome. All right. So for your last 2 passages, you're going to be reading Tom Thumb and Issen Boshi, and you're going to be comparing those themes within those stories. All right, guys. So take your time today to finish up those responses. Remember, tomorrow we won't have any new material. You'll just use that to watch the read aloud video for Save Me a Seat. And then that will be your day to catch up, fix anything, finish anything, and wrap up your week with any work that you haven't finished, either from science and social studies or with math, and then also with the ELA. All right? So do your best work. You've got this. Finish the week strong, and we will see you back tomorrow to read or to listen to your read aloud from Save Me a Seat. Bye, guys.